Hello everyone, my name is Nick Harrison with Rocky River Woodworks, and on this very hot day we're going to make this "Don't Tread on Me" sign on the CNC machine. Stick around. So on the computer here, the first thing we're going to do is open Easel. And I have Easel pulled up here. I have an Easel Pro subscription, but you could do the same thing without the Pro subscription. So we're going to go to File and New. And then you can make this whatever size you would like. I'm going to be using maple or birch plywood. From my experience with CNC, it's about the same. So that's the only plywood one selection on here besides cherry plywood, which is kind of uncommon. I can't seem to find it a lot of places. So I'm going to select birch plywood. I'm going to make this 20 by 20. That's my CNC machine can handle that. And it's 3/4 of an inch thick, so that's 0.75. I'm going to change my bit to a 90-degree V-carve bit. This is a Pro feature, so if you don't have Easel Pro, you can use a free day. So if you don't have Easel Pro, just so you know, Easel allows you to use 4 days a month, 4 blocks of 24 hours. So you can use a free day to do this, but I have Easel Pro. So we're going to select 90-degree V-carve bit, 1/4 inch shank. The cut settings, I'm going to go to manual, and the feed rate, from what I have found on this with the V-carve on the plywood, I can actually get up to 55 inches per minute. I'm going to leave everything else the same. I'm going to set it on a raster toolpath just because that is an option and it seems to give a better cut. Now we're going to come over here to the left side of the screen. Let's go ahead and name this real quick. Don't Tread on Me. And you're going to hit this bottom icon where it says import and select SVG. You will need to have an SVG file to do this process. I have an SVG file of my art. I'm going to be making this Don't Tread on Me art today. I'm going to zoom out and make my artwork the size that it needs to be, which in my case is going to be pretty much the whole dang board. I'm going to center it up a little bit best I can. And there we go. You can select the depth of everything if you would like. I'm actually probably going to bump this down a little bit and see how 3/8 would look over here. Looking pretty good. Might go down to a 1/2 inch. Yeah. So it looks good there. You can hit the simulate button and it'll kind of show you how long it's going to take with your cut settings with that bit on this material, just to get an idea, so you can kind of make plans accordingly. I don't like to leave my CNC running when I'm not at least around to check on it. So it'll take 3.5 hours. That's about right. The red line shows you any movement of your CNC that is not carving, and then the blue lines show the movement of the CNC when they're actually in the wood making the carve. So now this is done on my inside home computer. I'm going to head out to the shop and get ready to start carving. So the first step in our project is to get our wood cut to size. And in the case of the Don't Tread on Me sign, the sign size is going to be 21 inches by 20 inches. So I have a piece of 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood here that I'm going to use to make it. And I'm going to set my table saw fence to 21 inches and then 20 inches and cut this down. So now that the paint has dried, I'm going to put some of this peel and stick masking paper over this. This will allow us to carve through the paper into the wood and then spray that area we carved without getting paint on the rest of the project. So we're going to peel and stick and cover this whole thing before we put it on the CNC machine. All right, now that I have everything covered with the clear coat peel and stick paper, we're going to head over to the CNC and get ready to carve out the first section. Now that I have the workpiece mounted to my CNC table, we're going to carve out just the green area of the grass that's kind of under the copperhead in the Gadsden Flag. So we're going to get everything set up. We're going to confirm our work 0 here. So in Easel, I'm going to home my machine and get everything set up here. I have a 90-degree V-carve bit installed in my router. Now that the machine is homed, we are confirming the material. It is birch plywood. It is 3/4 of an inch. We have confirmed that it is secure to the table. I just put a 1.25 inch wood screw in each opposite corner. That'll be plenty enough to hold it down. And it's far enough on the edge that it's not gonna affect the art in the middle. So the material is secure. We're confirming our bit, which is a 90-degree V-carve bit. Now we need to move to work 0. So I'm going to move my machine here. For work 0, we're going in this far corner. So I'm going to move my machine down and get it in position. There we go, we're at work 0. We're going to raise our bit just a little bit, turn the spindle on, and get carving. So there are a few places where this paper has chipped or ripped out. So I'm going to use some tape and just touch that stuff up just to make sure that there's no paint that gets outside of where I need it to be. All right, now that everything's taped, we're going to spray this area green. This is going to be the grass that's underneath the copperhead. We'll let that dry and absorb into the wood and then do one more coat. So I'm going to re-secure it to the table and then get on the computer. So now back on the computer, I'm going to open up my second easel file, which is everything that's going to be black. So the first one only carved out the areas that are green, which is the grass. In this case, obviously there's only 3 colors. There's yellow, green, and black. So the yellow was our base. We sprayed it. Now we carved out the green, and now the only thing left to do is to carve out the black. Before I made the first carve, you saw me kind of dragging a piece of 1/4 inch plywood across there. I'm just trying to get some of these ripples and bubbles out of that. It's not terrible, but I think that might have been what caused the paper to chip and tear earlier. So I'm going to try to get that as smooth as possible again before we start this second carve. But like I said, I'm pulling up the second carve now, which is everything that's going to be black. It does take a minute. In my shop, I don't have fast internet, so while that's loading, I'll go ahead and do this. And I'm just trying to, like I said, more or less squeegee the bubbles. All right, so now that everything's loaded up, we're ready to carve. We have to go through the same process. We're gonna home the machine again, just to kind of reset everything to get an accurate carve when we run this time. So the machine is going to its home position now. And we're gonna confirm everything again. You have to do this every time when you use Easel. We're confirming that it's birch plywood and 3/4 of an inch thick. We're confirming that it is secured to the table. We're confirming that we have a 90-degree V-carve bit, and we are going to zero the machine. So let's see here. And we want this to be dead accurate because otherwise it will not line up with what we had before with the grass. So that is pretty close right there. So we have our zero confirmed. We're raising the bit, turning on the spindle, and letting it go. This one's going to take a little bit longer, but after it gets done, we'll come back and go from there. So now the carving has finished. The CNC has returned to its home position. I've shut off the spindle. We're going to clean all this sawdust and chips up again, take it off, and then get ready to paint it. All right, so I have the project off of the CNC and I'm getting ready to paint it. And what I was hoping for was that the film would be stuck in all here and I could just spray paint it, peel the film off, and then it would leave everything. That's the case in the majority of the places, but there are some of these little small pieces that the film has chipped off from the CNC. I actually realized after I put this film on there, this is not the correct film to use. So I have more on the way, but this is what I have for now. So what I'm actually going to do is peel all the film off now and then just use a brush and manually paint all the black spots in by hand. All right, so I've painted everything. I've let it dry. I had to put 2 coats on some areas. Some places where it went outside my lines, outside of the carved areas, I did have to wipe that down and get that off. But I believe this project is complete. I cut off the corners just to make it look uniform. The reason I did that is from where I drilled it down to the CNC table, there were holes in there. So I just cut off all the corners just to make it look more uniform. But like I said, I believe this project is complete. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on future videos. You can find this project and more on my website at www.rockyriverwoodworks.com. Also, if you're into social media, which I'm sure you are, this is 2020, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle at RockyRiverWW. I post all my pictures of projects and stuff on there. So that's at RockyRiverWW on Instagram. Thank you for watching.